Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile on Chaos Dragons, and so I've showed you guys kind of how the deck runs and as well as how to side deck against it, but let's go ahead and check out a deck profile of a variant of Chaos Dragons. There's tons of ways to run it. There's a whole bunch of other tech. I put some cards in the side deck, so maybe if you don't have some of these cards, or you're not a fan of one of these cards, you can check out some of the cards in the side deck and you can play those instead of some of the cards you see above. So let's jump right into it. So first off, we're playing a Chaos Sorcerer. Pretty simple. I do like this card because it allows plays for Arcanite Magician, because Chaos Sorcerer, you get to remove one if that goes off, and then you can summon an Effect Failure, and then you can go for an Arcanite Magician, and you can pop 2 more cards, and then that way you're pretty safe to go for your Light Pulsar, and you shouldn't have to worry about like a Solemn Warning, because they probably would have Solemn Warning maybe either Chaos Sorcerer or they would have Solemn Warning your Arcanite Magician. Really good stuff. Next up, we're playing Dark-Armed Dragon, pretty self-explanatory. Same with Darkflare Dragon. It does help out with Future Fusion, because sometimes you don't want to send your Raise Darkness Metals to the graveyard, because you already have them in there. Generally because they just get, for some reason, Raise Darkness Metal always ends up to the graveyard really fast for me. But yeah, it's just another target for Light Pulsar also to get back. But generally he sometimes just gets banished. You could opt to play 2. Darkflare Dragons and then make Adrius and Tyrus. That is an option, but I personally don't find that too useful. I kind of like my personal variant better, but you might have your own opinion on that, which is totally cool. Next up, we're playing 2 Wyverns, just because it helps you get cards in the banished area that you can just get back later on. So you usually want to go for Dark Arm when you're going for the Wyvern. And it also is light, but drawing this card, it honestly isn't too good. I do like to mill it, and I do like to Future Fusion with it. So yeah, drawing this card, not the greatest thing, but it is a light, so it does work with Honest. Sometimes you do remove it for Raise Darkness Metal, so that's an option as well. Next up, we're playing 2 Veiler. I have to play 2 Veilers instead of 3 because I'm also playing 2 Tragodia, as far as being able to kind of have hand traps and survival on the field. I feel like you don't really need Maxi in this because it's not light or dark. Plus, Chaos Dragons is kind of a budget deck, and it's a very good budget deck as well. But yeah, Tragodia is kind of my replacement for the 3rd Veiler. You could opt to play 3 Veilers if you like. It's not a bad option. Next up, we're playing Aaron, just because certain decks that like to set a lot, you can just kind of send them back. Pretty good stuff like Gravekeepers. Although keep in mind, Aaron's effect doesn't stop them from flipping, so if you happen to hit a spy, it is kind of unfortunate. But Aaron's still great for the mill as well. But yeah, against Gravekeepers, you do have a kind of a bad matchup if you don't draw a Lila or a Raiko immediately, because that Necro Valley prevents you from getting out your Chaos Dragons. Next up, you're playing Gores. Gores, it should be pretty stable. I mean, I feel like, there's no traps. You could opt to play Treacherous Trap Hole. That is a great card as well. But yeah, generally you don't play too much traps because you want to send as much monsters from your top of your deck to the graveyard. And, if you play traps, you'll just mill traps. And, there is still quite a bit, a good amount of spells, but, it's still, all your stuff is pretty much like power cards as far as your spells. Next up, we're playing Honest. It should be self-explanatory. I basically search out Honest all the time with Sangan. I feel like that is a great card. Whenever you have Honest plus Black Luster Soldier, they're like best friends because you can OTK quite easy with both of those. Next up, we're playing Jane. I do like Jane in the main deck. You could opt to side Jane. You can side multiple Janes, actually, because a lot of players will play Kaiku in the side deck, as well as Thunder King, and this runs over both of those. So it's a really good card. Plus, getting the mill in, pretty good stuff. Next up, Light Pulsar. This is the key of your win condition. Basically, you want to summon something first to get rid of their back row, and then summon your Light Pulsar. So basically, Lumina, go for Lila, or just summon Lila. You basically want to get out your Light Pulsar as safely as you can. So basically, you have Lila for that. Next up, we're playing Lumina and triple Lila, because Lila is amazing. Oh, if you guys didn't know already, the combo with Light Pulsar is basically you have Light Pulsar on the field. Once it dies, you get Raise Darkness Metal. Raise Darkness Metal, its effect gets back Light Pulsar. So it's kind of like a loop. But you guys should be pretty familiar with that. I'm sure that you guys just want to check out the deck profile. Although I'm trying to explain it just for some people that want to try the deck out as well. Next up, 2 Raise Darkness Metal, pretty self-explanatory for him. Basically, you want him in the graveyard as soon as possible. You can remove dragons to special summon them. Good cards would be maybe Eclipse Wyvern, or sometimes if you have the potential to OTK, you can go Tour Guide and make a number 17, and then you can remove number 17 because he is a dragon, and then go for Raise Darkness Metal, and then maybe special summon a Light Pulsar from your hand, and you can just kind of finish off your opponent, because this is a very explosive deck. This deck can OTK quite fast. Next up, we're playing 3 Raikos. A lot of people do like to play 2. I personally do like 3 just because sometimes if you open up with a cloggy hand, you can just set a Raiko. It's no big deal, and you can kind of prevent yourself from getting OTK'd. And as well as, I really like this card against Dino Rabbit, just because, you know, they make Loggia all the time, and you just set this, and it just gets rid of that problem, because Loggia will make you kind of go -1 sometimes, but generally you can just go for Light Pulsar, and then just, if it dies or it gets negated, you just go for Light Pulsar again by discarding from your hand. And, you know, it is an option to play Necro Gardener. That is a pretty decent card as well, if you wanted to try that out. But I did forget to put it in the the side decks section. Next up, we were playing Sangan, and we're playing the Triple Tour Guide. Generally, Sangan, you want to go for Effect Failure if you're playing against, like, Inzectors. If you're playing against majority of things that just beat you down, just go for Honest. Honest is a great card. You could opt to possibly pay Battle Flater too. I do like this card against the mirror match. It is pretty good just because Chaos Dragon's OTK is quite fast. You can also play Electric Virus in the side deck, that also is good. As well as Victoria, that is also a very good actual side deck card. Down below are just cards that you can play over some of the cards in the main deck. This is an actual side deck. But next up, we're playing 2 Tragonia just to keep yourself alive. Plus, you run a lot of different levels. You have 7, you have level 6, you have 4s, you have 5s, you have 3. There's just so many things that you can go for, and I think that Trag is just very good. And overall, Trag is really good. It's just a great card. Last up, Plague Spreader Zombie. A really good card because it allows you to go for this card over here, Void Ogre Dragon, when you have Light Pulsar, plus the Plague Spreader. Very good card. If you guys are unfamiliar with him, I'll just show you his effect. Basically, he's Shien, so once per turn you can, during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell or a trap card and you have no cards in your hand, you can negate and destroy it. So, really good stuff. That way your opponent can't top deck a Dark Hole and kind of beat you from that. But, you know, if you did have Light Pulsar and you had Red's Darkest Metal on the grave, it's not that big of a deal if they Dark Hole you, because you'll just get back Red's Darkest Metal and then you'll be fine from there. Next up for the last monster, actually, we forgot Blackluster Soldier, probably the best card in the game right now that is currently not banned. He's very good. He should be self-explanatory. He wins games. Him with Honest, they become best friends and they just finish people off. It's just really good for the mirror match as well, because you go Blackluster Soldier, attack into someone's. It doesn't really matter what it is. Pretty much you just drop the Honest and you win. Because generally they'll have Light Pulsar plus Red's Darkest Metal. You just go Blackluster Soldier, ultimately attack your Red's Darkest Metal, drop an Honest, they take 3,000, and you're boosted up by an additional 2,800. So you get 5,800 attack, and basically you win from there. Next up, for the spells, we're playing Allure of Darkness. You generally do like to allure Sangan away. There's not really much you really want to allure, but if you have to, you can allure other things like Tragonia or Plague Spreader even, because Plague Spreader you can get it back with Levier. That's really why I do like the Tour Guide engine. If you don't have Tour Guides, you can play, you know, these cards below, which I'll get into later. But I really do think that alluring things like Sangan or Plague Spreader are good. You generally don't want to allure this, because then you only have one in the deck and you really can't get this card back too easily. It's not like you'll like side deck into Burial. But yeah, don't allure this card. It's not the greatest idea. Next up, we're playing Twilight Brigade, Dark Hole, Future Fusion. Basically, if you open up with this and your opponent can't stop it, it puts you at such an advantage. You should be geared to win right there. Next up, Heavy Star, Monster Reborn, and Triple Soul Recharge. So, pretty low on the spells. The reason why there's no MST, although you can side MST if you wish, but the reason why there's no MST is because Lila gets the job done, as same with Raiko, and it's not like they're going to main deck Light Imprisoning Mirror. But if they do have Skill Drain or Light Imprisoning Mirror, it does kind of hurt the deck, especially if you're playing against Dark Worlds, because when you don't have your abilities to, like banish, it does hurt, especially when that 3,000 beat around the field, and the only thing you can really get out, and like it's this card, and you only point for points, so dealing with 3,000 is kind of a problem, but you can just side deck your MSTs, you can side deck Decrees if you're afraid of Light Imprisoning Mirror. So that said, that's going to be the deck profile for the main deck. We're going to get into the extra deck right now. So playing Zenmane's Utopia, Acid Golem, Leviathan, Levier, Exit Beetle. Now this card's interesting. So it requires 2 level 6 monsters, so that's going to be double Light Pulsar majority of the time if you're going to be making this card. So basically, his effect is you can target one monster in either player's graveyard and equip that target to this card. This card gains attack and defense equal to half the original attack and defense of the monster equipped by this effect. But you basically use this effect. Once per turn, you can detach one Exceed material from this card to target one face-up card on each side of the field and send those targets to the graveyard. So it doesn't destroy, which is really good. it just sends them to the graveyard. So it's really good in that aspect to get rid of problematic cards that you just can't deal with. Like when your opponent gets out a 5-headed dragon and you don't have answers soon enough, you could, you just need to get rid of the card, and that really does help. Plus, if you have like a dead future fusion on the field, and you have a Gorz in your hand, you could, send those cards to the graveyard. It does help. Or if you want to make Scrap Dragon, that is an option as well. But it's just good to have these options, and you have a lot of room in the extra deck, I think, in this deck to play a lot of different things. You could possibly take out Utopia if you wanted to play something else. Another great card is Dark and Dragon. I just didn't have room. I personally think that I'm pretty much full, and I'm pretty satisfied with the way I'm running it right now. But anyways, we were at Exit Beetle. So next up, Void Ogre Dragon, which we talked about. Stardust, pretty self-explanatory. Scrap Dragon, probably one of the best things you can go for in this deck. I feel like if you can abuse Scrap Dragon over and over, because you can use Scrap Dragon's effect to destroy himself, to destroy a card. And then you can use Raise Darkness Metal's effect to bring back Scrap Dragon. Like, you can abuse Scrap Dragon a lot in this deck. Very good card. And Mistworm, really easy to make when you go Lumina, go for Lila, pop one, and then you can go stack one for Plague Spreader, and you make it level 9. You send everything back, then you go Light Pulsar, and then you can just OTK. Next up, we're playing Bryo, Black Rose, Arcanite, which we talked about, Catastrophe. All these should be self-explanatory, and then 1 5-headed. You could opt to play 2 if you want to play Dragon's Mirror, which is also a really good card. Let me show you what Dragon's Mirror is, because it's a really old card. Oh, did I spell it wrong? Let's type in mirror. Oh, there's a few here. So there it is, Dragon's Mirror. So you remove from play, it's like a Miracle Fusion, but for dragons. So you remove from play your side of the field or graveyard fusion materials that are listed as dragon type. Basically, it's for 5-headed. So you remove 5 dragons from your graveyard, and then you go for this 5,000 beaters. So if you open up with like Future Fusion, and then you just banish everything, and it'd be pretty good with like Eclipse Wyvern there, because then you could add 2 of them back. But I mean, I personally don't think this card is very consistent, I would say. I mean, you could try it out. I personally think you basically want your dragons in the graveyard anyways, but I mean, you could just try it out for fun. I mean, if you're just going for an OTK. But let's get into the other choices. If you don't have some of these cards, or you just don't like some of these cards, you want to try something else out. So you can play a Card Trooper, you can play another Chaos Sorcerer, you can play more Veilers. You can play Judgment Dragon because you run enough Light Sworns. You could maybe bump the Light Sworn count up. Maybe you want to play 2 Luminas. I don't think you'd want to play Wolf too much in this deck, but you can try it. I mean, I give you props for trying other things. I'm playing Darkened Dragon, pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I think this card's really good, but generally when I go for an 8, I'd rather just make Scrap Dragon, to be honest. That's kind of why he's there. Next up, Battle Fader, Phantom of Chaos. And this card's pretty good. I wish I had room to like the main deck this card, because I think it's really good with cards like Dark Harp. And like, if you're gonna use Phantom of Chaos, I would say probably play Judgment Dragon as well, because you can remove Judgment Dragon and pay 1,000 blow up the field. Really good stuff. DD Crow is also a good card. Maybe you just don't have Effect Veilers, or you don't have certain cards. DD Crow is actually pretty decent, because sometimes you do have trouble removing darks if you don't have the tour guides. I feel like once you summon 1 tour guide, you have all the darks you need. Like, pretty much tour guide to Sangan, you can search out another tour guide. Like, you have all your darks, and it's really good. And you can possibly also main deck MST. You can main deck maybe 1 Duality, just because sometimes in this deck, all you really do first turn is you go summon Lila end turn, or you go set Raiko end turn, and you might as well like Duality and maybe get like more draw power, or you want to try to get this card as fast as possible, because if you can Duality into this card, like, it's just so good, because you can still activate this card the same turn as Duality, because it doesn't special summon this turn. But yeah, so that's been a deck profile for Chaos Dragons, because some of you guys requested it, because I showed you guys why I thought it was one of the best decks in the meta, and you guys wanted a deck profile. So these are just my personal choices. If you think there's any cards that could be better in the main deck, or other options for you guys, let me know in the comment section below. But thanks for watching, guys. Agent Ice White Dragon, signing out.